Good morning. We are almost done with the book. We are going to read chapters 31 and 32, and then we only have one more read aloud. "Wake up, son," a deep voice called. "Francisco?" Dominic moaned, his eyes still closed. Blinking hard, Dominic looked up to see a man in modern clothes staring down at him. "Now where did you come from?" the man asked in English. Where am I?" Dominic cried. Where's Francisco?" He was shocked to hear himself speak in English. "You're at the Ellis Island Immigrant Museum. I'm one of the rangers here." "The museum?" Dominic gasped. "Ranger?" He looked down to see his clean T-Rex t-shirt, and there on his chest, hanging from the gold chain, was his lucky key. He clutched it with his trembling fingers. "What year is it?" he asked. "I suppose if you hang around long enough." "And here," the ranger laughed, "you do sort of forget what year it is." No, you don't understand," Dominic tried to explain. "You see, I was here with my class when I fell asleep, and then I woke up. I think what happened is you fell asleep, and you had yourself quite a dream," the ranger interrupted. "What's your name, kid?" Dominic Cantori," he sputtered. "What happened to your shoes?" Dominic stared down at his bare feet, his clean, unbruised feet. I left them in the closet downstairs," he said. "Don't worry, we'll pick them up," the ranger told him as he helped him to his feet. Dominic looked around at the softly lit display case of the modern lighting overhead. He took a deep breath. The air was clean and cool. "Come on, we'd better get downstairs to give your family a call," the ranger said. My family?" Dominic repeated the words aloud. Before the ranger could stop him, Dominic spun around to reach for the phone where he had first heard Francisco's voice, and his heart pounded in his chest. He held the receiver to his ear. Chapter 32. "I came to America when I was a boy of 11 years old, the familiar voice began. "Francisco?" Dominic whispered into the receiver. "It's me, Dominic." He held his breath and waited for a reply. "In Italy, we had very little, and yet we had so much," the voice continued. I know. You had Violeta and Father Tomasio and your brothers and me. You had me. You said we were family, remember? Francisco, please, just say you remember," Dominic pleaded. "In Italy, we had a goat." "Come on, kid," the ranger said, trying to take the receiver from his hand. "What do you say we go downstairs?" "I just want to hear him say that he remembers," Dominic said. Dominic reluctantly put down the phone and followed the ranger through the display rooms, into the hall, and past the large photographs hanging on the walls. But he slowed his pace and stared up at the many faces of the newly arrived immigrants in the pictures. He felt an eerie stillness in the cool air and an unnatural quiet as his face looked back on him, frozen in time. "They were all talking," Dominic whispered. "I heard their voices. I heard their babies crying. I heard the people talking. They were laughing and shouting and alive. They were alive." The ranger began to head toward the escalator when Dominic stopped suddenly. "Wait," he said, lifting his t-shirt. "On my back. You see the marks on my back?" The ranger leaned over and looked at his back. "No, I don't see any marks there." "Maybe I did dream it," Dominic said, lowering his shirt as they continued to walk down the hall. "It's just that they all seem so real. They were all wearing old-fashioned clothes, like the ones on the displays," he said, pointing to the glass case. The ranger shook his head. "Come on," he said, gently taking Dominic by the arm. They were heading through the doorway when Dominic broke free and ran in a different direction. As the ranger called for him, he stopped. Dominic made a dash for the escalator and raced up the steps to the third floor. He hurried from room to room, from one display to the next. Was it a dream, or had it really happened? He had to find something that would tell him for sure. He stopped finally to catch his breath, and as he leaned against another large glass display case, he looked up to see the words in the case. "Immigrant Graffiti." Dominic pressed his face to the glass and peered into the case. "Okay, kid, I'm out of patience," said the voice, suddenly coming from the ranger's direction, as he walked up behind him and grabbed his arm. "This time, we're going downstairs." But Dominic didn't answer. He couldn't answer. He was speechless. When his voice finally returned, he could think of only one word to say. "Violeta," he whispered, placing his trembling fingers on the grass, for there in the case for him was a cracked piece of plaster in which a delicate outline of a little goat had been scratched, and from the goat's shoulders sprouted 2 graceful wings. Oops, sorry, I can't find the stop button. Tomorrow we will read chapter 33, the last chapter in the book.